You are listening to Strictly Biased with Will Rutherford, his NFL Week 18 previews and predictions. And it's only on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second edition of the Central Indiana Sports Report, Strictly Biased with yours truly, Will Retherford, this week. Greg and I have decided that we wanted to talk through some important NFL storylines and also briefly mention the pick competition that has ran throughout the entire season. It looks like it's a three-headed race, basically, at this point. Producer Susie, Elijah Poe, and Cade Hampton are all within striking distance.
By the way, Elijah Poe of the Ball State Daily News, Cade Hampton of the Muncie Star Press.
And that's about it. I am in fourth place. Mike Rich follows me with the Pacers report. And then Greg, unfortunately, has found himself in last place after
Last place, Will.
being in first place for a majority of the year. We go into week 18 with a lot of skepticism on guys that are going to play, or teams are going to rest their starters, teams out of contention, sitting guys for risk management. It's difficult right now just to kind of put a feeler out what teams will do. I think some teams play it differently based on how games go even Saturday, how early games go at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And then we will be left with the 4:30 slate and Sunday Night Football. But
the 4:30 slate is massive, too. Hey, Will, before we get going, I wanted to say that I got a text from you the other day that there's no such thing as a meaningless NFL game. You are absolutely right. There is no such thing as a meaningless NFL game to a lot of people. But what I meant was meaningless in the standings, meaningless as far as the draft goes. Neither team's making the playoffs. Or one team has made the playoffs and can't move position. The other team isn't in the playoffs. That's what I reference as meaning. I wanted to let you know that, and the listeners.
Yes. Yeah, we kind of had a conversation with Sam regarding the Colts and just kind of players may not be playing as hard because they're not playing for something. And my response was more or less to do with that, because players are going to play hard. They're on the field. They're not going to put bad tape out there for teams to potentially look at and pick apart in the offseason. They're playing for contracts. They're playing for practice squads. They're playing for extensions. It's just NFL players are not going to go out there and not give it 100%. They're competitors. They want to win regardless of where the standings are. This Colts team in particular, they're still going to go out there and perform because their livelihood depends on it.
The truth is, it's not a meaningless game to anybody who's playing in it, who's watching it on television or takes the time to go. Of course, it's not meaningless, especially the NFL. But in pro sports, there's no such thing as a meaningless game. I just meant in the playoff picture, it's a meaningless game. And,
yes, it is.
And you do get, to be fair to Sam, you do get some lethargic play.
Sure.
And a lot of teams look like they quit late in the season at times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of contagious at times. And so there can be some of that. But you're right, on principle. These guys are playing to win a football game.
Not only that, I think when you play lethargic, when you play slow, it's an injury risk. When you're not playing 100%, you're going to get hurt. That's just the way the football is played, to be quite honest with you. You play hard, you play physical, you play the right way, you're going to stay as healthy as possible. Now, there are situations that go beyond that with ligaments and muscles and just strains and general wear and tear on the body. But when you play lethargic and when you play tense and you don't play hard, that's when injuries happen, because your head's on a swivel, and all of a sudden, where you avoid that blindside hit, you run right into it, and then you break a collarbone.
You can play lethargic and play hard.
Maybe you're not playing as difficult to the whistle. You give up an extra yard. You let somebody get out of bounds where you would try to keep them in the playing field in a 2-minute drill or situation. I understand that, and I think that Sam is right. I think that you can get, and you can get some lethargy. I just think, like I said, on general principle, they're professionals. That they get 17 games a year to put tape on film to guarantee job security for next year. They're not going to compromise that just because they have a vacation that they're flying out for on Wednesday.
I remember I was about 10 years old and I went to a Colts game with Jeff Cotton, who had played football at San Diego State and was my neighbor growing up. And the Colts, all they had to do in this game, the last game of the year, was lose, and they got Vinny Testaverde as their quarterback. And I asked Jeff, why wouldn't they just lose on purpose then? And he said, you think any of those guys out there care about Vinny Testaverde? There's not a single player out on that field who cares about Vinny Testaverde. They're
No.
playing to win. They're playing for their jobs. Every time you take a field in football, you are playing to win the football game.
The people that care about tanking and those are the upper management and the owners. That's who cares about the tanking and the draft stock and the draft position. You know, an NFL player doesn't want their job security to be questioned, but the rookie. They don't want a team to draft somebody in their position because that's scary. At the end of the day, they're teammates, but they're competitors. They're competing for 53 spots on a roster and then 12 practice squad guys. That's all you get. There's 1,000 people that can play NFL football in the world, in the United States right now at this given moment. And that number may be off. That was just thrown off the top of my head. But regardless, they care about the opportunity to play their career in a sport where your average career is 3 years to 5 years. That's all you get to maximize your earning potential, and then you move on to the real world. But this matters to teams.
That win over the Bills that day that I went to the game, over Jim Kelly and the Bills, moved the Colts from the first pick to the second pick, and it worked out really well. They drafted Cornelius Bennett and traded him for Eric Dickerson. So,
yeah. So look at that. They wouldn't have traded Vinny Testaverde. That's for sure.
Right. Another thing I wanted to bring up before we start talking about the games is the MVP race, because I keep hearing that it's between Matthew Stafford and Drake May, but the MVP of this league is clearly Josh Allen, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
he's the best
I think
player,
that,
and he's the most valuable player.
I think that's true. I think it's always the most deserving award. It's not usually the most valuable. It has been the last couple of years. They've kind of have done the most. Well, that's up for debate. I think up to this point, I think Drake May has performed well enough to be considered the MVP. I also think Trevor Lawrence deserves to be in that conversation in terms of most valuable to his team and most valuable to their turnaround in this season. He's played excellent the last 8 weeks. They've gone on this win streak. They have an opportunity to be the 2 seed.
Hey, if you could have any quarterback in your team on the Super Bowl run, who would you want?
Oh, I would want Josh Allen, but
he's the most valuable player. There you go. Easy.
I think if it's, but that's also looking at a career as a whole and not necessarily a year and under the microscope.
Looking at who is the most valuable player in the league, and the most valuable player in the league is Josh Allen. Sorry.
Well, that's the debate in every sport. Who was more valuable to their team's success last year? Was it Cal Raleigh or Aaron Judge when it came down to what they actually did in terms of their team's performance? I think you could make an argument Cal Raleigh was the most valuable, but the best player was Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge did win the MVP, and I thought that he should, because when your batting average is 100 points higher than your competitor, I just don't think that Josh Allen
should be too.
Well, then where's James Cook in that conversation? Because you could say that he's just as valuable to the Bills' success as Josh Allen has been.
No, you can't. James Cook's success comes in large part because people have to shadow Josh Allen in the run game. He's getting holes other running backs wouldn't get because his running back is such a threat. You know that. Come on.
I mean,
Josh Allen's the reason that engine runs. You could plug in any top level running back and it would be the same.
You're not wrong. I'm just saying that, I mean, I think a Triple Crown rusher is pretty valuable to a team.
He's good.
I mean, he's going to lead the league in rushing yards. I don't think that's just because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen's not the one that ran for 1,600 yards.
He's not close to the best running back in the league. He's top 10.
Yeah, he is. He's a top 5 best running back in the league.
No way. No.
I'm only taking
6, 7, 8, maybe.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, and Christian McCaffrey probably before I'm taking James Cook. I would say he is the 5th best running back in the league. Derrick Henry is up there in conversation. I think those 6 are the 6th best.
Has not had a good year, but he was the MVP last year, or essentially the player of the year last year. I'm just saying he's 6, 7, 8 somewhere. He's good. but he's not. It's because of Josh Allen.
Well, I think that while that is true, he's put enough tape on the last 2 years to prove that on his own, his value without Josh Allen is still awfully high. I mean, we could pull up the numbers. He's been incredible this year in terms of what he's been able to do, even when teams have really done a pretty good job of trying to make sure he isn't as impacted and make Josh Allen throw the ball to win with the receiving core. I mean, James Cook over 1,600 yards, 5.2 per carry, and 12 touchdowns. That's
Hey, Will.
pretty helpful.
Josh Allen is the MVP, period.
Well, he's not going to be. So
yeah, but he is.
He can be the Central Indiana Sports Report's MVP, but he's not going to be the NFL MVP.
Well, see, here's the problem with that. I think the Central Indiana Sports Report MVP might be Jalen Carter, because we don't look at it has to be somebody getting yards or something like that. The best player in the entire league.
I still think I would, if I had to pick one of them, I would pick Josh Allen.
Yeah, so would I. But it's close. Jalen Carter is getting double, triple teamed every week, still putting up amazing stats. That defense is a reason the Eagles can win the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think so. I think, and that they have 2 all-pro corners helps
I said
a lot
reason.
too.
Yes. In one draft, by the way, and you know how you have those mock drafts that you can do, the Colts mock draft online yourself? I took those 2 in almost every single one of the mock drafts that year. It was Mitchell in the first round, DeJean in the second round, because the Colts had defensive back problems, and those 2 in college really stood out to me. That's why the Eagles are they stayed on top.
I think so. I think their defense has definitely been the backbone to that team, where they've really struggled to find their footing the whole year, essentially offensively. I don't know if there's change coming. I have to think that there has to be, just with the talent that this offense has. They have to be better. You can't have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts in a top 5 offensive line in the NFL and struggle to put points on the board week in and week out. So I don't know if it's just changing play caller. I don't know if it's maybe developing a better scheme or advancing your scheme. I don't know if last year they had to run so many plays that people have gotten used to the formations and their tendencies and are able to game plan against that. Whatever happens, though, I think you have to still respect Sirianni's leadership for having this defense ready to go play week in and week out as the head coach. I know he's not the defensive coordinator, but the leadership that he has helped provide this team, whether it be a little volatile through the media or not, he has been an excellent head coach for this Eagles team and this organization and the franchise. Greg, I also failed to mention Vic Fangio's importance as the defensive coordinator to the Eagles. I know that we have transitioned recording, but yeah, he's been up in the booth. He's been absolutely incredible for this team. They have an incredible scheme, and they bully teams up front.
And I thought they were going to fall apart this year, and that defense is so good, they still have a chance to repeat.
I agree. I think that if on paper they're the best team in the NFC. Now, whether that translates to a Super Bowl win is I don't know, but on paper they're the best team. Greg, let's get started with this week's slate. On Saturday, we have 2 games, the first of which is played at 4:30. The Carolina Panthers are visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams are worth 5. Greg, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, the reason I went from first place to last place in the picks competition is I stayed on too many sinking ships, and one of them was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to stay on it one more week, I guess.
I think you're right. I think I'm right,
because the Panthers are horrible on the road. I know they had one good win on the road somewhere. I can't remember, but they're not very good on the road. The Buccaneers are usually pretty good at home. They're going to be, I don't know. I could see it going either way, but give me the Buccaneers.
I think I'm going to take the Buccaneers too. I think McMillan kind of exploded last week. I think using him as your wide receiver 3, as crazy as that sounds, They have just a treasure trove of riches at this point offensively if they could just figure out a way to use them. Their run game has to be better with Bucky Irving. It's why they got beat in the first matchup with Carolina a couple weeks ago. They couldn't get Bucky Irving going. I think he only had 70 yards that week. They've got to find a way to get him the ball in space more. I think they figure it out this week. I think Todd Bowles still gets fired because there's a chance that the Saints beat the Falcons and the Panthers wind up playing in the playoffs, regardless of the outcome of this game. So
Right.
I see this going the Bucs' way, though. All right, the 8 o'clock game, the late game, is a huge one for seeding in the NFC.
All right.
The second game of the day tomorrow on Saturday is at 8 o'clock. The 13-3 Seahawks travel to the 12-4 49ers. Both teams are worth 5. Greg, I like the 49ers a lot in this game. What are your thoughts?
The winner is the number 1 seed. The loser falls all the way down to number 5. So that's a big one. My thoughts are I like the 49ers a lot too, but I like the Rams against the Seahawks a couple weeks ago too, and the Seahawks won it. They've been pretty good in big games. They've been surprising me all year, but give me the 49ers.
Yeah, I just think that they beat him in week 1. Purdy's playing lights out. I'm interested to see what Kittle's injury status is. I think the 49ers just score a lot of points and force Darnold into a turnover or two. The Seahawks probably keep it close, keep it within a touchdown. I think the 49ers pulled out and win. I think the 49ers offensively are the better team, and that's going to play a huge part in this playoff run for them. I think it gets them the number 1 seed. All right, moving on to the Sunday 1 o'clock slate. The first game we will talk about is a game that means a lot to us, but also means nothing. The 8-8 Colts travel to the 11-5 Texans. Colts worth 7. Texans
the Texans win the division?
Yes.
So not meaningless to them as much as to us.
I hate the Texans.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The Texans are worth 3, though. I think this is one of those sneaky Colts wins because they could just do it, and they're, I don't know. That's just what this Colts, they'll win a meaningless game. They did it last year.
No, you're exactly right. This is the kind of game the Colts win.
I think the Texans struggle offensively. The Colts force Stroud into a couple overthrows across the middle. Bynum has a pick, maybe a tipped ball, a fumble. The Colts, I think, just scrape this one by 23-16, and the Texans have no way to win the division, but they still can play in the playoffs. I don't know how the seeding is going to work. Buffalo and the Chargers are both sitting their quarterbacks, so we'll see.
Give me the Colts 9-8. 3 field goals for the Colts, 2 field goals and a safety for the Texans. 9-8.
The second game in the AFC South that means a lot. The 3-13 Titans travel to Jacksonville, who is 12-4 and has the opportunity to win 13 games and clinch their division. The Titans are worth 8. The Jags are worth 2. Greg, you said
this
months
is the
ago,
kind of game the Colts win. This is the exact kind of game the Jaguars lose, man. Through their history, this is the exact kind of game they lose, but they're not going to lose this game. This Jaguars team's a little different.
I think so too. I think I'm, regardless of the 8 points I get with the Titans, I like the Jags here. They beat them 25-3 in the first meeting in Nashville. I mean, the Titans have stuff to play for. I think this Jags team is just kind of rolling, and I don't see the Titans as a force that can stop them. I think the game stays closer to the third quarter than you would like. You might even see Jacksonville trailing for a while, but in the fourth quarter, they pull away with the game.
Jaguars can still get the number 1 seed, right?
I think so. I think New England has to lose and Denver has to lose, but yes,
right.
I think that the Jags can still be the 1 seed.
They're
going to play everybody. They're only, my guess is that if they're up 14 in the fourth quarter, under 8 minutes left to go, they probably bring Mullins out and sit Lawrence. But outside of that, I think the Jags are going to be foot to gas the whole time.
I wouldn't say the Jaguars have a great home field advantage, but it's certainly better than going to New England, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, any of those places than playing in Jacksonville. So you would think they would, if that was possible. You know?
The only thing, too, in the playoffs that you see is like Miami would be hard because of the heat. A lot of these northern teams coming south having to play in the oppressive heat, and then the southern teams going north. The problem with Jacksonville is it's kind of one of those perfect football climates right around this time of year where it's going to be like
Correct.
65 and sunny, and it's going to be
Correct.
perfect weather. So that does neutralize that a little bit.
San
But I
Diego
think,
or Florida.
yeah, I think they do have an opportunity to be a good home field. I think they show up when it matters a lot. That game a few years ago where they hosted the Chargers in the playoffs was an electric atmosphere. That's one of the
Yeah, sure.
best NFL games I've watched in my life.
It's
So,
true in any NFL stadium in the playoffs. But
yep,
I'm just
absolutely.
saying, you don't think of Jacksonville as a huge home field
No,
advantage,
you
but it's
don't.
certainly better than playing in Buffalo.
Yes. All right, moving on. The 4-12 Browns visit the 6-10 Bengals. The Browns are worth 7. The Bengals are worth 3. Joe Burrow is not playing in this game, so I'm just going to say Bengals and move on.
I'm going to say Browns because of that, and I don't know why Browns are known to come to play from time to time. Give me the Browns and the 7 points.
I don't think Fannin Judkins already is on IR with the tibia issue, but Harold Fannon's not going to play. I don't think they have any playmakers to win. So it'll stay close, but the Browns don't travel very well.
I can't believe the Bengals are 13.5-point favorites or whatever. That's nuts.
Yeah. All right. The 9-6-1 Packers travel to the 8-8 Vikings. Packers were 3, Vikings were 7. Greg, I'll keep it short. I kind of like the Vikings in this one.
What if I told you I just saw the headline that J.J. McCarthy started? Does that change things?
I think I still like the Vikings. I think they're playing well.
I think that changes me to the Packers. He's so bad.
You're right. I'm curious. What are the Packers going to do? Because I think they're locked into the 7th seed no matter what. So I don't know who's going to play, who's going to sit. The Vikings can finish above 500. That would be huge considering where this season has gone. I think they want to get Justin Jefferson to 1,000 receiving yards. They're going to force feed him the ball. When they do that, it works out for him.
You're probably right. I'm going to go with the Packers anyway.
All right, moving on. A game that actually has some implication, crazy enough. The 6-10 Saints travel to the 7-9 Falcons. Both teams worth 5. The Falcons have an opportunity to remove Tampa Bay, who has kind of been their thorn in the side of the Falcons getting in the playoffs the last few years. They have a chance to get the Panthers in with a win. Greg, who do you like?
Let me ask you a question, Will. Is this a game between the best 2 teams in the division?
The best team in the division right now is playing in this game, but they're
That's
without
right.
their best player.
And
They're
the
without their
Falcons
best
have been playing
player.
better too.
I think the Falcons win because Chris Olave is not going to play. But if Chris Olave was playing, if the season started 5 weeks ago and went to now, the Saints would win this division.
You're right. They would because they got the best coach.
Yeah,
All right, give me the Saints. I think this is the first time I've taken them all year. I said I failed to jump off of ships. I also failed to get on some as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Falcons because Bijan and Chris Olave is not going to play. So I'm going to go Falcons, but I like where your head's at with the Saints. We both agree this team is much better than their record indicates right now. All right, Greg, another meaningless game. Glad it's not America's Game of the Week. The 7-8-1 Cowboys visit the 3-13 Giants. Both teams worth 5. Cowboys move on.
Yes.
All right. Sunday, 4:25. The 7-9 Dolphins travel to the 13-3 Patriots. Dolphins were 7, Patriots were 3. Patriots?
Give me the Dolphins.
Okay. This is an important game for the Pats because they can clinch up the number 1 seed if
I think
the Broncos
this is where
lose.
they start to fall apart. I think they are the 1999 Indianapolis Colts who started winning a little too early and at the end of the year got exposed. I think it starts right here.
Okay. I don't know how Darren Waller's injury is going to impact them. I just like the Pats. They still have a lot to play for. I don't think this Dolphins team with Ewers is bad. They obviously won last week. I think it's going to be difficult for them to win. It's going to be a hostile environment at 425, I think. All right, Greg. The 3-13 New York Jets travel to the 11-5 Buffalo Bills. The Jets are worth 7. The Bills are worth 3. Josh Allen may take a one snap to keep the consecutive starts record intact, but I don't think he plays much more than that. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Bills.
I want to see how many touches James. No, I don't care if the Bills are going to win. The Jets are just that damn all bad.
Man, I really like Aaron Glenn as a head coach.
I don't. I think he needs fired because he's supposed to be a defensive coordinator, a defensive head coach, and their defense is horrible. They were better with Bob Saleh. I mean,
How
you
about
can't tell
this?
me
I like
otherwise.
him as a football mind. How about that?
I like him as a defensive coordinator. He has clearly shown his ineptitude as a head coach. There are guys that came in with less and figured it out. Sorry, Aaron Glenn. If you're listening to this, I just think that your ass is fired already. So
I'd like him on my team.
I think the Patriots went and fired Gerard Mayo because they thought they had a better option this past year in Mike Vrabel. That paid off. I think the Jets should do the same thing. I think if they think there is somebody out there that they view as a difference maker, a game changer, the head coach position, Aaron Glenn is never going to be a top 10 coach in the league.
Then
A
I would
head
be
coach.
happy if Aaron Glenn landed with the Colts. I think he's going to be one that's going to be a great head coach.
We'll see. I'm still hesitant. I
We
get what you're
certainly
saying.
disagree, but I don't believe it enough to call you a knucklehead or anything like that.
Okay.
Because I will if I really believe you're being a knucklehead.
Yes. Let's move on. The 6-10 Chiefs face the 2-14 Raiders in Vegas. Both teams are worth 5. I think the Chiefs are going to try to lose this game. I think the Raiders are going to try to lose this game. So who's going to do a better job of that?
Who can sit the most players?
As long as Geno Smith is playing, I think the Raiders cannot win. So give me the Chiefs.
All right, you took the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Raiders. That's how simple that was.
Yeah. The Raiders would just be absolute fools to win this game. Absolute fools to win this game. But
wait, let me ask you a question, Will. Are the Raiders absolute fools?
yeah, they are.
There you go.
All right. The 11-5 Chargers visit the 13-3 Denver Broncos. Chargers with 6, Broncos with 4. The Broncos are playing for the number 1 seed. The Chargers are resting Herbert and other starters. I think this is a pretty easy Broncos here.
Okay. I agree.
All right, that was easy. It's fun when we agree like that.
Yep.
The
And
8-8.
by the way, this is kind of a meaningless game too. I know the Broncos going to get the number 1 seed. The Chargers aren't going to have enough out there to probably keep them from doing it. So it's
No, I don't think so. Broncos, their goal is they want to get up 3 scores in the second quarter and sit Bo Nix down and let Jarrett Stidham go out there and sling the pill around, get his whatever contract escalator he has, or if he plays 2% of the snaps, he gets an extra $50,000. They'll make sure he gets that money.
For a job well done carrying the clipboard all year, right?
He's done a hell of a job. You can clipboard Jesus, Charlie Whitehurst walked so Jarrett Stidham could run.
Right, but you hold a clipboard for a good team, you get rewarded.
Hopefully, Carson Wentz is a Super Bowl champion.
That's right.
Gotta count for something.
That's right.
All right. The 8-8 Lions visit the 11-5 Bears. Lions worth 6, Bears worth 4. I think the Lions win this game because I think they're the better team. And regardless of how the season... Well...
Crazy. Can't believe they're favored in Chicago.
Yeah, the Lions just beat the piss out of the Bears the last time they played. I think it happens again. I think the Bears... It's kind of the same situation as the Patriots. I think you see the foundation crumble a little bit. and the facade of the Bears being an elite NFL team kind of fade.
Ben Johnson's the coach of the year because of his effect on two different teams, I think.
Could be.
He's a good one. I think
He's
Caleb
good.
Williams might be a good one too. I'm not completely convinced yet, but it looks like it. His instincts are good. And when your instincts are good, that's 85% of being a quarterback.
He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. That's something usually you kind of have to coach out of quarterbacks. I think he already has that. If they could just get his highs to be higher. I don't even think the highs have to be higher. When he makes plays that nobody else in the world can make, I think you just need to bring the low up. Like, you need to bring the bad plays and kind of shorten that leash a little bit.
And that's what young quarterbacks do.
Yep. All right, Greg, another game. I don't know how much it means. Well, seeding it could be important. The 4-12 Washington football team visits the 11-5 Eagles.
Perfectly
Eagles can
set.
still play for a higher seed. I think they win this game. Josh Johnson starting for Washington.
Yeah, good luck to him. Eagles.
All right, moving on. The 3-13 Cardinals visit the 11-5 Rams.
By the way, Will, the Rams are the perfect example of lethargy when you have very little to play for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Cardinals are worth 7, Rams are worth 3. Greg?
Rams.
I think the Rams win. Cardinals keep it close, though. I think that if you think your team is a decent quarterback away from winning a playoff game or getting to the playoffs, I think that Kyler Murray is the guy you go get. I think Kirk Cousins is probably going to start the year in Atlanta, and quite frankly, I think that the last 5 games have shown why he should have started the whole year. I think this team's a playoff team if Kirk Cousins plays the whole year. I really do. I think that he's performed that well.
Well, it would be hard not to be better than Penix was.
I agree. I think that it's going to get Raheem Morris fired, I think.
Yes, it is.
And to be quite honest, I think he probably has earned it. He's earned getting fired.
Yeah. He's another one I keep thinking he's going to be a really good one.
It's not worked out in 2 spots now. Getting a third chance is difficult.
Yeah, it's looking less like he's what I thought he might be.
Outside of that, I don't really know if there's a team to me that fits like the mold of needing a Kyler Murray. I think the Colts that's a good, strong option. I mean, obviously, you could make an argument the Jets could be a landing spot for him. However, I think that he's probably not going to want to go there. He would just be throwing his career away. I think I need to see what the contract structure looks like to see what the dead money is for the Cardinals, how much money the Colts have open, whether they want to pay him what he's worth, how much draft capital would take to get him. Like, there's just a lot of question marks to me of how the whole situation will work. So I think if you have to go get draft capital or give it to the Cardinals for Kyler Murray, I don't think you do it. Don't do it.
Some draft capital. It's going to take some draft capital. It's just not significant draft capital.
I don't know with the post January 1st or June 1st if they cut him or release him. I don't know what that does for the money. I would imagine that if you trade him, the team's going to have to be able to pick up the contract. Interesting. Very interesting.
If Steichen is the head coach, it feels like a good fit.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a bad fit. I think the Steelers are another option depending on what Rodgers does.
Didn't think about that one. Steelers fans would hate him.
Yeah, they would. They would.
It's not their kind of quarterback.
No, it's not. But
beggars
can't be choosers.
Yeah, and he's a good one. I mean, he's not number 1 pick worthy guy, but he's a good quarterback.
Yeah,
he's before a lot of other starting quarterbacks.
I don't know. I think a Stafford decision could make a difference if
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Yeah. And there are a
we could
couple of
see.
those. What about a Joe Burrow decision? Is Joe Burrow going to ask to be moved out of Cincinnati because he's earned the right to do that?
I think it would be just a hilarious evolution of the NFL if he demanded a trade because he lobbied so hard for them to re-sign both Higgins and Chase. And I mean, publicly just kind of went at the franchise and said, figure out a way to pay him.
Seems like it's something brewing, though, doesn't it? Seems like a lot of frustration for a top end quarterback.
I mean, sure, but I think if I'm the Bengals, I'm looking at Joe Burrow and saying, hey, I hate to say it, but kind of need to stay on the field a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awfully difficult to make the playoffs when your ass is hurt for 2 weeks or 2 months a season.
And his retort would be protect me.
Well, I don't think the offensive line's not been completely atrocious. Joe Flacco played well
You're right.
behind that offensive line.
You're absolutely
I mean,
right. Sometimes it's the quarterback that makes the quarterback, the offensive line, look bad.
I think it would be really selfish for him to say I want out. I think it would be really
Man,
just
he's so good. Will.
not professional. I think that they can win with him. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl, but when you go out and you say, hey, let's, go and re-sign 2 number 1 receivers, one of which I don't necessarily know is worth number 1 receiver money in Higgins, I have a hard time feeling sorry for you. And the injuries and stuff, I know it's bad luck, but I just think that you got to reap what you sow. And he fought for this. I think now you got to stay with the ship.
Going to be interesting to see what happens in the quarterback market in the offseason. People think the Colts are stunk because they don't have a first-round draft pick. Daniel Jones is not someone you want to depend on. I don't think that's true at all.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Greg. I watched that Ole Miss Georgia game last night, and I can tell you that if Trinidad Chambliss is there for the Colts to get in the second or third round, you'd be an absolute fool not to go get him because that dude's a gamer.
And I think this is a draft in particular where you're going to get as good a broccoli. You're going to get as good a quarterback in the second or third round as you might in the first this year.
And I think it could be recency bias for sure of just watching him play and watching him perform for this Ole Miss team. But, I mean, he's won 2 national championships at Ferris State as Division II quarterback. He's 23 years old. He's played a lot of football. Like, I know that the size is a bit of a concern. He's listed at 6'1", probably closer to 6 foot. But
Kyler Murray-ish.
He's taller. Kyler Murray is shorter than me, which is why I say I don't trust a quarterback shorter than myself. Dylan Gabriel also applies to that as well, but that's neither here nor there. I just look at that Chambliss style as like this is kind of the archetype of what you want to bring a guy that's maybe a little undersized. He kind of has very Brock Purdy feelings to him where it's like smaller, not going to be a highly sought after draft prospect. He played a ton of football though, won a lot of football games. He's the type of guy you go get. I think you throw that second or third rounder and see if it sticks. Russell Wilson to me. He gives a lot of Russell Wilson in him. Greg, the game that America is just should be pissed off to no end about having to watch on Sunday Night Football.
I thought that might be your reaction.
The 8-8 Ravens play the 9-7 Steelers. Both teams are worth 5. It's in Pittsburgh. Greg, who do you like and why?
Well, you know who I like and why. I like Mike Tomlin making the playoffs every single year, and here we are.
I don't have a great comeback against you for that statement. I just think Lamar was going to win this game.
I hope so. I love Lamar. I have not seen it at all this year, Will.
I agree. And the Steelers are historically good against Lamar. They do a good job of bottling him up. Maybe I'm wrong. I hate the Steelers. I don't want to see them in the playoffs. I don't want to have to turn on a game they're playing where they'll get blown out by 20 because their team's not good enough to compete with any of these playoff teams. Yeah, it's a shame that we're forced to go through this.
You understand why, though, right?
I know. I know they're two huge markets, big fan bases,
Yep.
two legendary coaches.
Yep.
Well,
Great rivalry.
neither coach really should be considered legendary, but
Okay. Great rivalry through the years.
it is. It is a great rivalry.
And they're playing for a division championship, all that. But you're right. Those teams stink, man.
I think the former version of the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns found a way to beat the Steelers, and I think the new version of the Baltimore Ravens find a way to beat the Steelers.
By the way, it's people like you who are the reason we're watching this game. People who say, oh, we need to keep the divisions the way they are, blah, blah, blah. Just one big conference. Come on. And we get the best
No,
team. Keep regional rivalries and get rid of the division.
I like this game. If it's too fun and frisky, 8-8s, 9-7s, like, hey, like, score
Neither
a lot of
team should be
points.
playing in the playoffs.
Defenses
You're
aren't
right.
very good, but hey, we love football. We love offense. I like the Panthers Bucks. Fun and frisky game that has a big
You're right.
importance. This game is going to be gross, nasty, and disgusting. It's going to be 16-10 will be the final score. You'll be left wondering how many times a team can punt and still win. You'll be looking that up on Google is what you'll do. How many times can a team punt and still win? What's the record for punts in a game? You'll be asking yourself. Because both these teams are competing for that spot. They want to be left in the record books at something. It's not going to come from being a good football team in either one of their respective cases. So
Hopefully Lamar turns into Lamar and can make the playoffs and make a little run, because as much as I hate the Ravens and they are in my bottom 3 franchises as far as hate, I like Lamar Jackson that much. And I got to cover him through college and enjoyed it, and I am for him. And I hope he wins, but I don't believe in him at all right now. I don't think he's the same Lamar Jackson.
yeah, I think you're right.
Someone telling me I'm right is always the perfect way to end a podcast. Thanks so much, Will. Always appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this podcast with an NFL fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here, talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every single day. Thanks again. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.